Hello, you. Hi, Jaime Kalman Chipko here, and that's Pixie in the background. She's gonna make sure that I keep things nice and tight. Oh, okay, not in the background anymore. All right, fine. So, welcome to another episode of Jaime Magic, and today I just want to touch base with my parents of anxious children, or if your child worries a lot, or maybe they have a habit like biting their nails, picking their skin, pulling at their eyelashes, sucking their thumb, chewing on their clothes. There's all kinds of things that we do to self-soothe. And what's interesting about some of our habits, especially if they're linked to worry or fear or discomfort, is that they start out as kind of like a harmless thing that we do, right? You do something once and it creates a sensation that you find satisfying on some level. And then you start to do it when you want to feel that sense of comfort and satisfaction. And then you start to do it in moments of, feeling timid or unsure or uneasy or overwhelmed or stressed. And that's Cece, by the way. She's our other tortie. And she's a mama, actually. She's a mama. She had two babies. That was before we adopted her. So now she's just like living the single life. Her mothering days are behind her. Lucky her. So unlike you and I, we're still in it. So we're gonna get to it. But those very harmless habits or behaviors, I should say, because before it is a habit, it's just a behavior. And the minute that you start linking it with something that you want to achieve or feel, then you start to do it to get that result. And then what happens is you do it so often that you don't even realize you're doing it anymore, and it's completely unconscious and you're not even aware that you're doing it. So if you have a child who is, let's just say, biting their nails, they are probably not even aware that they're doing it at this point. If you're watching this video and you're watching it because you're just driven crazy by this situation, just know that you're not alone. And one of the first things that I would recommend, because by the way, I have a ton of experience in this area as a parent, because I have a child who has gone through multiple what are called BFRBs. They're body focused repetitive behaviors. And she comes by it naturally. Her dad and I both have different habits that we've had over the years in this way. So and I always tend to run more anxious, so I completely understand. And my daughter and I are both highly sensitive. So we're sensitive to physical sensations, we're sensitive to emotional situations as well. So we're just sensitive. Anywho, if you have a child who's in the same boat, if the behavior is starting to drive you crazy and you're getting triggered, I just want to help you press pause, because here's the thing. Adding our stress and frustration to the child's behavior, it doesn't help, right? It doesn't help. And I know that you know that, and I'm just so sorry to even add on to the stress that you're feeling, because it's not to be critical. It's just to remind you that, you're right. It doesn't help to be, scolding them or warning them about all the bad things that'll happen. And, I gotta be honest with you, I still do it. I know how to do all this. I'm a certified hypnotherapist. I'm a pediatric hypnotherapist as well. I know not to criticize when it happens, when I see it happening. And yet I catch myself all the time going, fingers in the mouth. You don't want to get sick. You're putting germs in your mouth. Come on, we want to be healthy. And all that really does is cause her to feel like, oh, I'm doing it again, right? It just causes her to feel ashamed, guilty, and bad. And like she can't, like it's out of her control now. So when this happens, friends, you know what I do? I notice the criticism. I notice myself getting triggered. And I just press pause for a minute and I take a deep breath. And then I think to myself, What am I reacting to? Why is this behavior triggering me? And the other thing that I tell myself is the behavior of my daughter's habit, that behavior is happening in front of me. It is not happening to me. So that helps me to just like not follow the alarm that gets triggered in my body when I observe this behavior and I become emotionally triggered by it and feel stressed out that she's experiencing it, right? So instead of reacting, press pause, take a deep breath just so you can kind of come back into your body, breathe out the reaction that you're going to feel naturally. Don't try to change it or reprimand yourself for it. Just notice that you're having a stressful reaction and just be like, okay, I recognize it. I'm feeling triggered by this. But breathe it out rather than speaking it out, because it's going to be a lot more helpful for both of you. And the next thing that I would recommend is that you just say to your child, I think we should have a conversation about ways that we can help you to transform this behavior. Because I notice that when you do it, you probably don't even know you're doing it. Like, did you even know you were chewing your fingers right now? Probably not. And that's okay, honey, because that's what habits are like. That's the nature of a habit. You've done it so many times, you're not even consciously choosing to do it. Your body is just doing it. But did you know that you're actually the boss of your body and you don't have to do what your hands just decide to do? You don't have to do what your mouth is telling you to do. You can actually notice when you're doing it and be like, oh, I don't have to do this, and stop. Okay. Now, it's not as easy as just stopping. Sometimes we need like a bridge or, a substitute to help us, to detach from the habit. So you might just choose for right now replacing the unhealthier habit of putting your fingers in your mouth with something a little bit more benign, like, maybe just like stroking a soft lock of hair, maybe just rubbing the soft, fleshy part of your earlobe, or maybe it's just kind of like rubbing the soft skin under your chin, or maybe it's just rubbing your fingers together. Now, I know with the hair, I'm always a little hesitant about hair twirling because hair twirling can become hair pulling. So I get that. So, just feel what connects for your child. And remember, it's not, when it comes to habit transformation, changing the physical behavior is only a piece of the puzzle, because the physical behavior, whether it's hair pulling, eyelash pulling, nail biting, what have you, nose picking, that's like the symptom. That's like the physical symptom. It's not the root cause of the issue. So we want to start though by giving them something else to do so that they don't just have to stop, because it's really hard to just like stop a habit when the whole reason that you started it in the first place was because there was a feeling that you were trying to achieve. Okay. So we don't want to deprive them. We want to give them something else that gives them that soothing feeling. So you might want to take a moment to sit down with your child and maybe write out a few ideas, do some brainstorms about some ideas they might have of things that feel really good that they could try to substitute. And if it's something physical that they need to have with them, like a squishy toy or something that they can stroke, just email your teacher or, whoever, coach or whatever it is that you have, and let them know that this is a behavior that you're working through and you need to use this accommodation for a little while as you break the habit. So I know that the idea of accommodations is a touchy subject, because the accommodations can often become habits as well, right? Or they can become disruptive to the household if the accommodation is something where the parent is enabling a behavior to continue because they think that it's helping by avoiding the core issue. But that's not what I'm talking about here. When I say accommodation for habit transformation, I'm not talking about enabling the child to continue the behavior instead of working on the root cause. So I hope that that's clear. I can go into that in more detail in another video. The difference between an accommodation that is supportive and constructive, and an accommodation that is enabling and disruptive. All right. But when it comes to kids, that's where I would start, is notice when you're triggered. Take that deep breath, pause, and instead of saying, stop it, stop it, right? Say, I'm curious. See what I did there? I went from critical to curious, okay? Because you know me, I love my C words. But these are easy to remember. Catch yourself being critical. That's a C word, right? And then step into curious. I'm curious. What are you feeling right now? How are you doing? And your kid might be like, what? I'm fine. I'm like watching TV. And you're like, oh, because I saw that you were biting your fingers again. And I was just wondering, are you okay? And they're like, oh, I didn't, yeah, sorry, or whatever they might say, and just say, no, it's okay. I'm just thinking that maybe we need to sit down and think of something else that we can do for your hands and for your mouth, so that you don't have to put your hands in your mouth, because I want you to be healthy. So why don't we carve out some time to draft some other ideas out that might help you. Okay, so start there, and in my next video, I'm going to talk about different steps for how to actually start to support your child in the behavior transformation. But start there, going from catching yourself being critical of the behavior to being curious as to why it's happening right now. Is the child conscious of the behavior right now, or are they not conscious of the behavior right now? And beginning to help them understand that this behavior is oftentimes linked to a feeling that they either don't want to have, so they're doing the behavior to give themselves a feeling that they would rather have, and then helping them understand that they are the boss of their body. They get to choose what their body does and what they do with their own body. So let's take the criticism and the shame and the guilt out of habit transformation, and instead let's look at it as a gateway into empowerment, because these are great seeds that we can plant for our kids moving forward in all other areas, including body safety, tricky people, unwanted touches. You know what I mean? Like, you can really see how you could plant some awesome seeds here. So anyway, until next time, this is Jaime Kalman Chipko, and I'm here with you with Jaime Magic, and I can't wait to see you again in my next video. Thank you so much for watching.